we find our nationality and serve that nationality, we'll do for ourselves what needs to be done.
Keep thinking it's games, you already know these beasts kill you on camera, leave you niggas dead in the streets. You're still handcuffed and bloody, but no 911 calls. Bystander effect in full effect, so watching with y'all, mind blowing. Watching my people holding up traffic of innocent people. My people need to get their ass kicked. Marching and picketing is most cowardice and funkified, while dead bodies just multiply. Sisters killed in their cell, you claim it's hell. You're raised and burned down your own community, not one police station. You love pork chops, but I see no police bacon. And when it comes to revolution, most of y'all are faking.
All ethnic groups in this country understand they got a nationality, because you answer to such stupid words like
black lives don't matter, but you still claim black. Rather film someone get choked out but won't choke back. And the one that uploads first face charges trumped up. What you think will happen when President Trump's up? More killing and murders of stateless herds. Hoods are concentration camps now, ghettos are burbs. Gun stores short on ammo, they're melting down church bells. Blacks seek shelter in temples where God doesn't dwell. That's why a foreigner can walk in and shoot up your service. Praying to invisible gods give you the curses. You pray to relinquish, that's none of my business. I suggest you nationalize with the quickness. I suggest you study law, stop with the bitch shit. In your face I see them spray the pepperish liquid, then pouring white milk on your face. I thought that milk was the devil. Some weapons drown the noise level, poise you rebel.
because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and color and black. You have
The
no
point that I'm
nationality.
making, blacks are mistaken. Call them highwaymen, not cracker pigs or bacon. Taking your tax dollars and riot gear, they relaxing. Cause in a black status, don't even think about a class action. Don't even think about rights being respected without getting injected. I see you infected. Then the same ones that violate the laws you re-elected. Your vote matters more than black lives, feel disrespected. Control the Negroes, looks tested and perfected. That's why about being black I'm skeptic and left it. My people are tripping, walking with arms like panthers who got nowhere in the 60s, so that's not the answer. And black leader, race war instigator puppets teach kill those who killed us as justice. But have they ever killed? I think not. If they did, it's hearsay, nobody to show. Yellow envelope, money in escrow, accounts overseas, not in democracies, living hypocrisies. It's all de jure mockeries, bureaucracies, vampiric, but most can't hear it. It's only the attitude, the regalia is not clan spirit. Until my people wake up, your struggle for rights continue, and your children organs end up on the elite menu. You love text but delete the messages, more send you with no status. You're in the jurisdiction and venue of the same beast system you attempt to defeat. Only as Moors will you get them on the heels of their feet. Of the same beast system you attempt to defeat. Only as Moors will you get them on the heels of your feet.
The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. And anytime you call a people by that right name, anytime you call a people, name a people, and fail to relate them back to land, history, and culture, you have called them out of their name. There's no black land or black holder. There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only it doesn't relate to a country. The name of every people in the world relate to country. And once you think instantaneously of land, you think of nationality.
Let's rise. Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Islam. read every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans, it causes confusion. Remember, your cards are for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Ali. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now, by the same people on our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is to the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. This is the instruction from your holy prophet Noble Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Ali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see. Ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Ali. Islam. Today's Q&A day, so if you got any, you could put those out. I wanted to address one thing quickly with regard to the quote-unquote government shutdown. Sorry, Canaanland Moors, this doesn't apply to you because these Moors teach that Canada is not part of the United States of America. So this only applies to Moors who are not in Canaanland. And they say you're Moorish Canadians and stuff like that. You can't be Moorish American. Right?
You're saying there's people that say that?
Yeah. Moors. Turbans, furs wearing Moors. Not Negroes or whatever. Moors. I'm a citizen of U.S.A. Moors have, active Moors I should say, have been talking about it, have been addressing this, so-called shutdown to continue to prove that this thing is a business that's going on. Now, we just want to put this up for the Moors who agree with this, because they say that Noble Drew Ali put this on the back of the nationality card. So Moors are citizens of United States of America.
That's a capital C?
Huh?
A citizen, that's a capital C?
Yeah. Right now, U.S. is on shutdown right now. So if these people, who are these are relative. If these people are shut down, then that means this is shut down. If these people who say they're the government are shut down, and then you have people who claim that they're not Moorish Americans, they're citizens of the U.S.A. Moorish Americans, that means that they right now have no citizenship. Because what they're saying is the government is shut down. We read the article about the Barbary states of America. And Barbary is Arabic for Moorish. And again, we're going to put out there that's not, Tajri Bay teachings or nothing like that. That's facts in history. That anytime you see Barbary, that's not really what it is. So they're going to have Barbary wars, Barbary pirates, Barbary did whatever to Europeans, Barbary and all these references to Barbary. What they're really saying is Moorish. So if they're talking about Barbary states of America, and these people are talking about United States of America, and this is a corporate jurisdiction that could be shut down, picked back up, then shut it down again, and then 2 more years, then they pick it back up again, then they work out a new deal, and then they shut it down again, and they keep playing this game instead of these people taking up. Is why we call today's class, what do you want me to do, kill you? What has to be presented for people to recognize that it's all about what Noble Drew Ali brought, and the fact that you have to tie yourself back to your national position. You can't claim to be a citizen of something that could be shut down and picked back up. That's incompetence on the part of the citizen. Which is why we tell Moors that if you're going to make the claim that you are a Moor or whatever, that you better be studying to know what's going on in the world. You can listen to what people say, you could click videos and all that stuff, but on top of that, make sure you're checking what's going on in the world, because everything is falling back into the people's hands, like Noble Drew Ali said. But the people, specifically Moors, don't want to take their place amongst the affairs of men, which is actually them. Not the other people out there who have affairs going on. Us taking our place amongst the affairs of men is us governing ourselves. So that the men out there could see us as handling our own affairs. And then know how to deal with us according to how we handle our affairs. So there's no Moors right now
that should be saying, or let me say, there's no Moorish Americans right now that should be saying about their citizens of U.S. or whatever, if there's no such thing as that being a government. Because governments don't shut down and pick back up and all that. Because that can't happen to family, since government is family. Since government is the people amongst themselves doing what it is that they're supposed to do amongst themselves. Like we said with, go ahead, Mark.
Well, but in a sense, could not the bureaucratic arm, so-called, but that's exactly what we're talking about, the bureaucratic arm of the government can be shut down and shut down.
But if it's the bureaucratic arm, it's not of a government.
Well, you're right. The very statement government.
Statement government.
But then, but then, ergo, this is proof that this isn't government.
That was not government.
What
they're
talking about is not
yeah.
government. And secondly, what it's also proof of, if it can be shut down from a perspective, even if it is government, then this would be what would be called anarchy, right?
Yeah, this would be the time anyways for people to say, oh, the stuff shut down, okay, well, time for us to govern ourselves anyways.
Or something's wrong here.
Right? Yeah, well,
At the very least, something's very wrong here for this to be shut down.
The shutdown is letting people know that something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because why are you shutting down? What's the purpose of shutting down?
But I'm saying that everyone seems to be missing that fact.
Right.
Because that should be, they're talking about how we're going to get this thing
Yeah,
back started
back
again.
going again. Yeah, when it should be shut,
You guys gotta get out.
shut down. Yeah, obviously you guys are doing your job while it's shutting down.
Right. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, everything's being told that everything's running as normal.
Running smoothly. Everything's running normal.
Which really it is behind the scenes, ultimately. Right?
Well, the only way it's running normal is the people
That's right.
have it running normal.
That's right.
But the people have to be of competent mind. And the only people that are competent minds out here are people with nationalities. Everybody else,
Well, they're just slaves.
they're just part of the shutdown.
The machinery.
They're just part of the machinery, going through the motions.
Yeah.
Ghost in the shell.
Ghost in the shell, straight.
So those Moors or Moorish Americans who their concept or perspective is that the USA stands for the United States of America.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
And
where
their position is that you have to follow the US kind of laws, the bylaws,
right.
the statutes and stuff like that.
You have to go with the stuff that they're putting out as the law, because they're the government.
So
Not that they have a divine constitution and they have power to make their own laws and enforce law. They're going with, no, we don't want to do that. We'll go to these people over here, and whatever laws they have, since they're whatever, and we're part and partial of that said government, then whatever they say is the law.
based on the fact that Drew Ali
said,
you're a citizen
you're a
of the
citizen of the
USA.
U.S. Drew Ali had more voting for people who were in positions in
US.
quote unquote the government. Or
You're a citizen of the USA. That's what he wrote.
yeah, that's what the claim is that he wrote.
But did it ever say America or United
Not
States of America?
U.S.A. You are a citizen of U.S.A.
But then,
But that could be interpreted. That's how they interpret it, right?
Yeah,
Our
that's
interpretation is
right.
Asia, right?
Right. I mean, our interpretation is Asia. Our interpretation is
unity, salvation,
unity, salvation, Allah.
Allah.
Our interpretation is United States of America, meaning the geographical Barbary states, which is why he said Asiatic states when he spoke to the Moors in the convention, because he wasn't really talking about
Just those
their
geographical.
just what they think United States is,
Right.
or what the perceived idea of United States of America.
Meaning
that's what it is.
Or United States
Meaning
of the Americas.
Meaning the Americas period, the continental America.
Right, yeah,
Right,
just the
right.
continental Americas. You know what I mean? So like, you know, Brazilians would be citizens of the United States, the U.S.
Yeah.
because they're also in the Americas.
And then let's say this, the other further thing I see from that is it could also be tied to the fact that he was talking about the genuine part of this.
Right,
A fraud.
yeah, right.
You can't name yourself 100% beef, not be 100% beef, and then swear yourself to the fake 100% beef, and then still imply that
That you have the original, or you're dealing
right,
with the
that
original.
you're dealing with the original.
Right.
But you know, I think it's I know it's imperative to know that words have meanings and definitions, and they say they're a citizen of U.S.A. What is that? What is that? I know it to be United, joined, States of America. So you're gonna say you're having allegiance unto a group of states in the Americas. Like I was looking at civil ensigns, and civil ensigns is basically it's just there's nations, and then there's national flags, and then there's flags for merchants. Like let's say they're gonna go up on do some trading over the seas, then the ship or whatever the locomotive may be, or the transportation may be, it would have a civil ensign flag, and that flag is different from the national flag. But when people see that, they know it's trading's about to happen. So these people that are saying that they're U.S.A., what's their motive? What are they trying to get out of from them saying I am a citizen, or what are they aiming to declare if they're saying that they're United States citizen?
Yeah, but yeah, what's their national flag too? Like what, or is that Star Spangled Banner they claim as a national flag, or what
Is
is
that,
it?
is that your question though? Is that the question you're asking, or was that more of a
Under,
statement?
You know, it's more rhetorical statement.
Yeah.
You know.
I have a question on that. I was watching this Moorish American government national conference that they had in September the 30th.
Yeah.
Pleasant Bay was a host speaker.
Yeah.
So I wonder if are those guys a real body of representation of the Moors? Because they're taking some declaration proclamation to the UN.
Well, they're like okay. The background is that these Moors in the Moorish Science Temple of America, who are on the side of getting Ojwali out the way, right? Copyrighting all the different things relative to Moorish Science Temple, right? They went at Pleasant Bay because he was a sheik in the temple. He realized BS that was going on, and he was trying to change things, right?
Yeah.
They took him to court, all that type of stuff,
Yeah.
right? So he had a thing against the Moorish Science Temple, right? So he said, Moorish American national government, starting up a whole different thing, no different than CMB said Great Seal, no different than Taj said Moors Order of the Round Table, no different than different Moors realize BS is going on, and because that's happening, they're gonna have to change up how things are going. That's just another part of those Moors that were more nation-minded, civic-minded, whatever, than the people who were in the temple, who were supposed to be doing the same stuff with the temple that they're doing with Moorish American national government, or that CMB was doing with Great Seal. It was supposed to be a governmental jurisdiction created by Moors for Moors to handle their own affairs. And then this body is going to talk to whoever else out there that says that they're whatever, you know what I mean? How it comes into with the separation is that people make it that it's about being part of the group. It's about being part of whatever those guys said is the whatever, when you have a national flag right here.
But he talked about that flag too. He said that flag is those people from Morocco, they hate us. But I kind of understand what he was saying.
Yeah, but that doesn't take away the fact that this is your
He
flag.
put up the other flag, the white one,
Yeah.
with the circle around that and the scimitar.
Right, with the scimitar and all
He
that,
said
right.
that's the real one, but I
Yeah.
kind of read up on that already because I kind of understand that this is ancient and what he's saying is modern. What he was pretty much saying to the crowd was the modern flag that people have up,
Yeah.
you should take it down because he's speaking on the Moroccans today, the
What
modern ones.
did Juali say the flag look like?
just like that.
Okay.
But I know, for myself I know, but I'm just relaying what he's saying.
Yeah, no, I
because he did,
but
he did say,
that's what we put back out.
yeah, he
What
said
did
Drew
Ali say?
He said he's not a temple.
About
The
that
body that they have is
right.
not a temple.
Has nothing to do with
Even
temple.
that Dirty Moore was there, Taraka Bay was there.
Yeah.
And they pretty much called him out. They're like, this guy is debating with us. Somebody called him out. Like, this is the guy that we're fighting with on YouTube and blah, 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 blah. And they kind of just called him up. And he came up there and he was just kind of playing off his conversation. And this is who I am, this is my personality.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, yeah, but I just wanted to clarify to say if those guys are real.
Yeah, there's not, if it's Moorish, it's real. If it's Moorish, it's real. Are they got no Jihad up front? Do they adhere to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice? They got fezzes, turbans, you know what I mean? You know, when they see a Moor, they say Islam, they don't have to, what temple are you from and what body you from and all that stuff. It's brotherhood then.
That was there.
Then that's what it is, you know what I mean? Like we'll tell people, go get his book, Exhuming of a Nation.
Yeah, he talk about that book.
Because there's stuff in there.
Yeah.
Even though there's other stuff that's you know, his personal hatred against Morris Science Temple, which is not really where it's supposed to be directed. It should be directed at those Moors who he had an issue with that did whatever. Not the temple. Temple didn't do anything. And then when it goes back to the flag again, we're going to say, well, Drew Ali said red flag, green 5-point star. Like that's very clear. No scimitars, no other stuff with it. Red flag, green 5-point star. And if I back Drew Ali, then I'm repping that as the flag. Anything else is just, like what the brother said, insignia, ensigns. It's not really the legitimate flag. It's just a Moorish maritime post that you know that anytime you're around this and you see the stuff that he has and say there's the flag, oh yeah, those are Moors, we can go right with them, Islam, you know what I mean, whatever. Anytime you see the Great Seal, you know, oh, those Moors, they're, okay, yeah, Islam, peace and love to those Moors, because we know that those Moors are down with the program. You know what I mean? And then when you have other people now that, you know, they make up their own stuff and are going against what Noble Jawali said and don't have him up front and aren't pushing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice and all that, then that lets you know where those Moors stand. But the Moors who have the mindset that Noble Jawali said go back to the ancient foremothers and forefathers, they're riding with this as the flag for the Moors.
I've never seen this scimitar flag. Does it have the 5-point star?
The star is there. It's only white. It's not red. It's white. The sword is over the star.
Hey, saved it.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's all white. There's a circle around it, like a circle 7. There's a circle around it, and the sword is above the star.
Okay. Well.
Now,
I don't know.
now what? One of the things to, because remember that Pleasant Bay is Moorish Science Temple of America added.
Yes.
Right? He was added. He wasn't, you know, that's why he could make Exhuming of the Nation and all that stuff, because he got degrees from Moorish Science Temple. Now, the statement that Noble Jawali said, things that happen in the ADEP meeting, stay in the ADEP meeting and all that's out the window, because Jawali said he took away all the secrets. So, I can say for a fact that that thing that they're saying is the flag or whatever, that was the badge for the adepts during Noble Jawali's time.
Okay. So you had to show yourself approved to have those knowledge, and then the badge, I guess the badge is showing that
would be showing that you're approved.
Okay. So, damn, shouldn't that little part of information be made mention when they're talking?
Well, again, like, you know, you have somebody who, And again, honors to the elder. You know, we did Skypes with him and all that. It's not no, but he's got info. It's relative to Moorish history and all that. He's got info. He's an elder. He's got to have info, right? But we know that he has a personal vendetta against the temple. But on the other side, you know, we're more science temple. And his idea against them is that you can't push this religious organization as a nation, which is his argument with them. Because it's a religious corporation. It's not a nation in that sense of the word. Which he's right, because they haven't been exercising it like that either. They've been exercising it like a religious corporation. So you can't say, yeah, we're the nation of Islam, but then other Islamic people aren't part of your thing. Clearly you're not a nation of that. Right? If you say you're a nation of Islam, then other people who are Islamic should be part of your organization. If they're not, then that's not a nation of Islam. That's an organization that people who want to join that, they will join. But it's not a nation of Islam. Right? You know, Hindus got gods. Aztecs got gods. You name them. They're not part of nation of gods and earths because they got gods. They should be. If the nation of gods and earths, that means everybody who's classified as God or earth should be part of that. Comedians teach that earth was actually a being.
A being?
A being.
Like
an entity. Yeah.
Oh.
Right? Sky was a living entity. All the elements are living entities that were classified as God. You don't see that being demonstrated there. They have their own stuff that they teach, not even Kemetic or whatever. So, his issue is that thing of them trying to say that they're a nation when they're really a religious corporation. And he's saying, well, you know, this is really what it is. Moorish Americans having a national government that can go to the UN and go to the whoever and whatever the affairs of the Moors. Yeah, but Juali came in 1913 and already squared up everything that we are a nation. I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. I brought you your name. I brought you your religion. I brought you your title to your vast estate. What do you want me to do? Kill you? Like, what more do you want? How much more Moors are going to say, we're the whatever of the Moors and you need to come to our thing and whatever like that, and people thinking that that's what it is. When this is nationhood. We are a nation. We have a flag that's been over 10,000 years we've been had this flag.
That's what I was watching. I was watching to see if I'm going to see Tarzan there or anybody linking to them to say, you know.
Yeah, but again, no.
Forefront of this.
Now again, right?
You know.
It goes back to that same thing of why we honor who we honor, right? We know for a fact Pleasant Bay had the personal sit down or whatever like that with Taj Street Bay and all that about everything. We know all the Temple 13 Moors, their leadership, sat down with Taj, sat down with whatever. We know the Kirkman Bay Moors, met with them, sat down and whatever like that. We know, the Mealy L Moors, sat down with the master teacher and none of them side with the stuff that he's teaching. All of them said, nah, we're going to be over here and we're going to do what Noble Juali said. But then when you check what Noble Juali said and what they're doing, those stuff are... You're getting nothing. Nothing related to what Noble Juali brought. How come? Why? And they're the biggest talkers that they're for the Prophet and whatever. These are the biggest people that are for the separation of it. Because once you have it looking at little, remember, everybody knows that this is the flag of the Moors. Yeah. Right? When you say Morocco, you're talking Moorish history. You're not talking about these people that just got their freedom in 1956. That's not who Moroccans are. Those are modern people. You say Moors, everybody's mind goes back past them. They ain't nobody. Who they? And again, when you go into the culture, just when I was on the way here, coming down the elevator, neighbor's gonna go do laundry. So having the, you know, the conversation to get out of asking the question. Why are you wearing that? Right? She's Asiatic, right? Chinese. Why are you wearing that? Why are you wearing that hat? I like that hat. Where did you get that hat from? Well, it's a fez, you know, it comes from our culture, you know, whatever. Because we're Moors. Moors, yeah, you know. Because, you know, we don't say, you know, we're not black. Oh, yeah, no, I know you're not black people, whatever. What do you mean you know that we're not? And then, you know, then she had to leave or whatever. But I'm going to catch her again and ask her, what do you mean? You know we're not black people. What do you mean by that? Right? And again, it could have been another melanated being in the elevator. They would be on their phone or face the wall or whatever like that. They're not even trying to have a conversation with the Mormons. You know, because they have that instilled self-hate. Because remember, they're Moors, and they're talking against Moors, then that's self-hate. Yeah. That's the same stuff that all these so-called black leaders been telling these people that that's what they got. And then they're thinking that, oh, self-hate is they don't like Africa, and they don't like and they like European women. And then that's not self-hate. Self-hate, you don't want nationality. That's self-hate. Like anybody else that has a nationality. You know? And again, once the world starts getting this this idea that we know that it's about nationhood. We're not talking about organizations and associations and groups and religions, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking nationhood. Then everybody's going to step up and be themselves too, and stop being pictured.
How do we get past where the Feds were in war was killing out the Moors though? Like that's one of the trauma. Why the unconscious murder?
Well, if you look at, you know, it might not be anything we can do as of right now, right? It might not be anything that we would want to attempt to do right now, right? But keep in mind, all other nations that have traitors, the punishment for treason is death. Not, oh, we're just going to take your card away and then you're just going to be a member because you violated your position thinking that you could say you're no Ujwali. And we're supposed to go with that. The punishment for treason is death when you're dealing with nations. Right? And it is one of the signs showed that we weren't really a nation yet. Because even Juali told these Moors, all these Moors, they think that they're going against Noble Juali and going against the movement. All those Moors could do is die. That was back then. That's all they could do. They can't do anything else. Anybody against what Noble Juali brought. That's what they could do. We appreciate your attempt, but you're causing a disservice to the nation, ultimately. But unfortunately, with Moors, traders are still around. 2018, traders are around teaching about they know Moorish history, and he can't teach good. He's not teaching Noble Juali and all that stuff. Oh yeah, well these people, they're against them. And there's the biggest problem that we have is the Fez wearing Moors siding with the colonists to go at their own brothers. Remember, same thing with Pleasant Bay and whatever. All those Moors who were fighting Pleasant Bay, all those Moors who were fighting Pleasant Bay, all of them were Moorish Science Temple of America people who got the lessons, got the oral statements, whatever like that. Juali told these Moors, don't call a European on your brother. You got issue, you call Grand Sheik of whatever whoever you got the issue with, and then them two will come together talking and sort out the stuff because we are a nation. How hard is that? But then, you know, once you do that, then it's going to get into this thing about favoritism and well, who was doing the other, and who had the charter first, and who had the... We're not going to do that. Words don't mean anything. Show me what you did. Show me that when sister said, I'm in adversity, you ran to help. Show that when the brother said, yo, I'm having a problem over here, you ran to help. Because of the obligation that we have based on the covenant. Which the covenant is proof that we are unified. We have a covenant with each other as Moors. That we're going to back each other. That's just what it's going to be. Because we're Moors. As soon as you get into the divisive, know that you're dealing with people who are against the principle, so they're against the prophet. They're against the flag, they're against the prophet. They're pushing some patriarchal whatever, they're against the prophet. Right? You're on Facebook dealing with Moors and they're talking about who's your grand sheik and all that type of stuff. These ones against the prophet. What do you mean who? My grand sheik. Nobody Ali's my grand sheik. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Brother Supreme just brought out the other day in his pardon the interjection that Noble Drew Ali is the grand body. So if Noble Drew Ali is the grand body, who are all these people, all these imposters around today talking about they're the grand body, they're number one, whatever? Who are they? If there's documented literature that Noble Drew Ali said, I'm the grand body. There's one prophet, one temple. We are a nation, one nation. And all these different nations out here or whatever, we are one nation. And there's people going against that, you already know what position they took. Because this is not supposed to be where it's at, knowing what it is that we got. You know what I mean? The Moors who are active, they learn it all the time. Like, if we can get these little BS wins with this little BS that we're doing right now, what were Moors doing in the 1920s with this info? And then we look at the landscape and you see there was all this stuff that Noble Drew Ali had, and when you check all the different organizations that were here in the Americas around that same time, all of them had fezzes and turbans too. Like, it wasn't even no secret. Everybody who looked like us was fezzes and turbans and all that. 1920s. But again, us having the traders as leaders, they don't want the broad perspective. They want you to be, yeah, it's only about this when it comes to morals. Right? When that's doing a disservice to everybody. Huge disservice. Why? Because these are the people that were supposed to be the example for the past 100 years. And then we go back 30 years and we find 4 Moors who've been actually on this like every day, all day. This is what has to be told to the people. There ain't nothing else to talk about.
If at a point in time, Islam, if at a point in time we were all Moors, then it was likely that we were all wearing fezzes to a certain extent. So the fez doesn't make the man, right?
Right.
So there's gonna be Moors who are upright and Moors who are dirty. So the ones who wanna make it look like Moors who are wearing fezzes were against their people, or they're the ones who helped the Inquisitionists put their people in slavery or whatnot, or captivity, or help overthrow their people. Yeah, they're gonna push that story because it makes sense for them to push that story. But guaranteed, if we were all Moors and are wearing fez at one time, there was as many or more Moors who weren't doing any type of corruption than there were who were.
Who were, exactly.
Right? So it's just like saying today, like, forget the fact that we're Moors, and if we're black people, and we're baseball cap wearing black people, there's people who wear fitteds and snapbacks who do good and who do bad, or what people might consider good or bad for their people. That has nothing to do with the feds, right? It's the individual. And of course, some of us wanted to use higher self more than lower self, and vice versa.
Yep. That's the same thing that we were saying with the Pleasant Bay thing, that it's the individuals he should have an issue with, not the temple, because there are some temples that he links with. He links with us. He doesn't have no issue with us, because we know we have the right perspective that this is an organization. There's a purpose to this organization, this religious corporation. There's a way that it's supposed to run. There's certain things that we can use it for. But it's not a nation. You know, I mean, the nation's right here. Right? Like, we're not grand sheiks of the North Nation. We're grand sheiks of the temple. We're representatives of the nation as far as grand sheiks or whatever. But that's not owned by the nation. That's just the title that Noble Drew Ali said that these Moors are going to use with this institution.
Wouldn't it be, like, isn't it somewhat of a government too?
It's a government in the sense that it's teaching you to get to that place of government. So like when we say, for example, when we say a town hall meeting, right? City of Toronto has town hall meetings. That anybody who's a citizen of Toronto, they can go there, and then police going to be there, mayor going to be there, whoever, and they could ask their questions, they could do whatever. The exact same thing. But that's not the nation. That's just the quote-unquote parliamentary procedures that happen once people realize that they're a nation. That's just what happens. You know what I mean? So this is more teaching you, like we have divine constitution and bylaws with 7 articles. Because Noble Drew Ali told Moors to enforce the Constitution. So divine constitution and bylaws is supposed to be a practice for the national constitution. Because you could only use divine constitution and bylaws domestically. We can only use that amongst Moors. That's why you don't see the so-called Moor Science Temple of America people using divine constitution and bylaws to say that, you know, SETI violated Act 3 and whoever else violated Act 4 of divine constitution, because they already know that doesn't apply to them. That doesn't apply to everybody. It only applies locally to these individuals that call themselves Moor Science Temple. So now, when we look at the dimensions of it, where you're going with it is how we use it, like that it's a regency.
Subdivision.
That it's a place for people to come because they don't have access to the complete spectrum of, you know, what it means to be a Moorish government, but we have this institution. That you can be here, proclaim your nationality, you could learn, you could, you know, meet people, you can do all the things necessary to start acting like a body politic. So when you leave in here transfers to out there. The activity that's happening with regard to the Moors itself inside the temple is supposed to also be outside the doors, not just limited to in the building. The same things that you know we look at, like when you say it's a government too. Yeah, but more so out there it's a government, not inside of the building. Right? So when Brother Omar says we're gonna do our solstice, whatever, or we're going to have Noble Drew Ali Day, or we're gonna anything outside of the institution is really the exercising of what is taught here. That once it goes out there, other people are going to be like, oh, that's let me go find out, see what this is about, and then they tie themselves to it, which is going to grow the body politic, right? Like we use the example with Brother Setenrod and them. the temple grand chief, instead of stopping or instead of making calls and saying, yo, there's some Moors out here cleaning up the street, we need other Moors to come on down and help these Moors clean the street. They just, don't worry, they went about their business while these Moors just did what they were doing, what they decided to do as their body politic. And the reason why they're doing it because they realize that these people who claim that they're the representatives aren't doing jack with what they got. So we're going to keep sitting around, 100 years already gone. We're still going to be sitting around waiting for them when we could actually be doing what's supposed to be done. Right? Yeah, brother, yes,
Yeah, so I don't know, correct me if I'm mistaken, but the only reason why there's a temple structure anywhere, or the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Moorish Holy Temple of Science was established is because we were stripped or we forgot who we were.
Right.
Or else it wouldn't even be necessary, right?
Right.
Because we'd be out there being who we are
Being
from
who we're
the
not.
jump.
Yeah, right. Right. So the purpose of this was so that people could come here and learn how to be themselves again. But not just learn to be yourself, but learn what government is, so that when you see your brothers and sisters, you deal with each other on that level. We deal with each other like officials, like what we said when we went to Chicago the first time, right? The muftis came out, they held the door. They held the door for the car. If somebody's walking into the temple, they're getting the welcome, right? If you're coming to do a lecture, muftis has your bags. You're not holding your own stuff. If you're walking down the street, muftis in the front, muftis in the side, muftis in the back, everybody else who's not muftis in the middle. Now, if somebody's just viewing that, they would think that's government. These people must be some type of diplomats or something like that. Somebody important. These aren't some people that belong to some organization that they pray and they and all that stuff. That's not what this is about. These people have to have some type of connection to something higher than just an organization or whatever like that. You know? And then again, it comes back with the people being here, they're learning, and then what they learn, they take out there to the hedges and the highways. Which is why, again, honors to the Moors, who don't bring their temple, don't bring their fez to the bag, to the temple in the bag. Everybody got bags. But there's places where they actually have the fez in the bag, and then they go to the temple, then they take out their fez and they put it on, they do their whatever, and when they leave the temple, they take out their stuff and then they go home. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. They can portray it like that. Ain't nothing wrong with, you know, I mean, if that's the level that they're at with this, then whatever. There's Moors who say that they're active Moors, that they've been somewhere, just building with a Moor. Yeah, you know, what's up, you know, letting them know about their birthrights. Another Moor that's from a temple is coming to them while they're building with an unconscious Moor, and they're asking them why they're wearing their fez outside. Hey, you're a Moor? You're Moorish American? Yeah, I'm Moorish American. How come you have your fez on outside the temple?
Why not?
Right? Why not?
Well, I can't separate myself from my nation when I leave the temple, you know.
And this is what the traders did. Have that perspective lingering around. That this is not as big as no mutuality. No mutuality, you are a nation. And then if we're a nation, then how come people are looking at it like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
There are some Moors online. I guess they have their own little flag with the 5-pointed star, and then they have the scimitar, and then they have the 7 in a circle, and they have love, peace.
See, what more was just talking
Okay.
about.
So I'm like, so they're like, oh yeah, this is the real flag, not the flag that the Prophet brought back to us. And I'm like, well, realistically, you have the same 5-pointed star on your flag. We just add some other more symbols to it. So realistically, you're just making up on the flag.
Yeah, adding on to what's already there.
And then you're saying it's from 18 whatever, but the Prophet said that the flag, it's over 10,000.
Yeah, so even if it's from 18 whatever, and
exactly,
like there's a flag that's 10,000 years old. Why not use that?
When did this claim come about though? Like, when is something recent?
Well, with
whatever this new flag.
No, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, that's those clubism guys.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, but realistically, why would you go with that flag if this flag is like flying in the UN and it's recognized by the international body? Doesn't matter who's repping it now or who adopted it or whoever's using it right now. It doesn't change the fact that we had it first. Right. It's our flag.
So for at least 10 years they've been talking about saying this is that flag?
Yeah, at least. Yeah, at least. It's on the back of the book.
But we don't even
the back of the exhibit.
Talk about it, so that's not even
Yeah.
But why bring about trying to change the flag because some other Moors don't like you? You know, like, okay, if you're gonna say you want to change the flag because the Moors in Northwest Africa, quote unquote, don't like us, you're gonna change yourself because somebody make up their face or don't like what you said. If what you're saying is upon the principles, what you're speaking of is upon the principles, and you're speaking upon divine truth that of the spirit that is within you, and you know that spirit is tied in back unto your foremother and your forefather, and you know what you're speaking of ain't coming from your own self. You're not just, you know, it's coming from divine, and you're doing it out of love. And what's wrong with that? If something's being said and one hears and they don't like it, that means that they either don't know what love is, they don't know the principles, or they don't know themselves to be themselves and renew back their divine self, their higher self, you know, and make that overconquer the lower self. So to say that you don't like this flag or whatever the case may be, you adding, as Moore said, you adding something that's already there. The foundation was set. Now if you're going to add something that's going to take away the foundation, then whatever you have is not going to be tangible. It's not going to be there, you know.
Conway, apologies, Brother Raj L. Kasir Raj L. Is there any way that I can obtain a copy of the Mukarrabin files? I looked all around and asked all types of Moors about these files. The Adept Temple Moors all act like the documents are invalid, but they never show any documents, while the neophytes don't even know what's going on. Can you please assist? So Brother Supreme, on Pardon the Interjection, just started doing the Mu files audio. So he's pretty much using his platform to present what's in the Mukarrabin files to everybody. So, you know, the best thing to do, like we said again, is keep pressing these people because they know about it. Don't let them tell you, don't let them be Grand Sheik, Grand Governor, Divine Minister, or whatever like that, and tell you that that's invalid. Because what's in the files is just documents from Moors. It's not some U.S. whatever. It's a Moor that went out, did his Freedom of Information Act request, and got access to whatever he requested. Whether it was from library, whether it was from Burr Oak Cemetery, whether it was from United States Secretary of State office, whoever, information that's common knowledge. Anybody can have access to the information in the Mukarrabin files. But you're going to have to request it under Freedom of Information Act. Because it's not something that's readily available that you're going to go to the library and find. You're actually going to have to go to, you know, Cooks County. There's stuff in there relative to Moors. City of Chicago, Archives Office. Mad stuff relative to Moors. Just information. Again, all these different jurisdictions that call themselves courts. How much Moors took Moors to court for BS, and they're claiming that they're the authority of Moor Science Temple or whatever, and there's actual court documents where a Moor is going to take another Moor to court because he said Moor Science Temple. He said Moor Science Temple, they're Moor Science Temple. They never sanctioned him for saying Moor Science Temple, so they took him to court because he used the term Moor Science Temple without being chartered or whatever from them. When those people are down with the sellout, the Great Schism, which is why this individual said, "Forget you guys, I'm going to be Moor Science Temple over here by myself without you guys." Right? You know what I mean? But don't get it wrong, because the Moor who said forget them, you know, he's not doing justice with it. They're just doing it just because, you know, they didn't want to follow the whatever. Right? But they're just as corrupt as the people who didn't give them permission. Right? Remember, they're all in the same jurisdiction, which is why they can even take them to court.
Blind leading the blind.
Blind leading the blind. Over the cliff. Yeah, man. No, yeah, you go ahead.
When I read it, it kind of reminded me of the movie Afro Samurai, where you had the #1 band. And like say Nobuju Ali, the movement has the #1 band, and then all they're doing is trying to find ways to be the #1.
Right.
So all they do, they'll be fighting over every little thing they're fighting over. Because you said this one word, or you're claiming this, or you're claiming that.
Right.
It was funny how it went on from since the Prophet died all the way up into probably the 50s or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably still going on now, but in the files,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, maybe up to the 50s is going on.
Yeah.
Or maybe longer than that.
Because again, because it's a thing of it's like the fighting going on amongst the Moors is on who can outlast the other, right? Because everybody's coming on an angle of fraud, right? Fraud has no statute of limitation, so these people are going to go over and beyond to push their idea, right? Now again, going back to Nobuju Ali, telling Moors, they're going to be trying weak minds. So strong-minded people are over here, they're like looking at what's going on, thinking these people are crazy.
The funny thing is though, out of when they brought their stuff to court, majority of the time, they're always shot down.
Every time.
Every time. Like the court's like saying, get out of here with you.
Right.
We
And
know
why?
what the deal is.
Why? Because they're always trying to go after somebody who's on the line of the succession of Nobuju Ali. But if you're the illegitimate successor, how are you going after the people? The people who are the real successor aren't going after you saying you guys are dirty or whatever. They're trying to, you know, not bring attention to their inactivity, their passivity. Right? It's just like with Mustafa Hefni. Right? The Egyptian that was a white man on paper, and then over here he wanted to be black. And he's making a big stink about it or whatever. And the only reason UDAS went after him how they did was because they were looking like, you know, they were looking like they were playing a game because he's white, but he looks like a brother from over here. But they keep calling these people over here black people. And he's saying he wants to be that. But if he's fighting the point that I want to be black, then he has to present the documents that say that he's white. Which puts these people in a messed up situation. So it's just like these Moors who didn't call these Moors who were dirty. Well, we can't say that because Ibn El called them out by name and all that stuff. Which is why they hushed him. Because he was telling you who these people were. put it in letter, which again is the public record, because you know once you get the signature on it and you got the seal on it, you got the letterhead on the top and all that stuff. As far as Moors are concerned, that's law. So he wrote all his letters, called out all these people in letter form, right? Told people, Noble Drawley told me to do this way. He was on his deathbed and gave me instructions that I'm giving to you, the same instructions that he gave me. No, they don't want that. They want to follow who said that they're the supreme whatever. Who said that they're the grand whoever. Right? And they didn't, all they did was put the letters out, whoever wanted it, did whoever whatever. Once he got shut up, now it's just dirty Moors now. And then they even went into that side of it, which is why you have the situation with us having our charter. Because the Moors who gave us our charter, they were part of the grand body who were there that got the porno magazines that was at certain people's house that claimed that they're authority in the Moor Science Temple. And they're like, forget that. How are you authority when you have gay porn stuff? There's no way that you are the authority. There's no way that you're the authority.
You know, as you're talking.
And again, just to put it on the record, that they didn't go at the temple saying the temple is doing some whatever. They just dealt with the individuals. They took the temple and they said, we're going to be over here doing what it is that this is for. You guys can be over there and claim whatever, but we're going to be over here doing active Moors work. Right? And then that got infiltrated. Which is why they're not around today. But just like we were talking about, all these Moors who used to be down with Moors Order of the Round Table, now and Great Seal, now talking against it. Now talking like that doesn't really hold water. You can't do civics, and Moors don't have sovereignty and all, and this is not, you know, the Moorish nation and all that type of stuff. They were down with the teachings that that's what this is. Just like all those people who were down with that are around today saying, oh yeah, Canaanland, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Cujo doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't even go through the Adab chamber or whatever. When those are the same people who I went through the Adab chamber with, or by, or put me through or whatever. Back then, it was cool. Everything was good at Adab chamber, me being Adab chamber then. Now that they're deciding to say, well, you know what? You know, we're going to go ride with the dirty Moors instead of the active Moors, the civic-minded Moors, the Moors who are teaching people that this is their birthright. They want to come together with that. They want to stick to the status quo of this is some religious whatever. Nothing to do with nation, anything. All this is just divine and that's it. Right? If anybody has any questions, make sure you shoot them up.
Just a quick statement based upon what the Moor was saying when he was saying about the Afro Samurai. You know, the number one headband is like the top headband that everybody sees him and he gets the respect and the honor because the training that they know he had to put on to achieve that. If he has that, it's either it's passed down or he trained hard for that. And then the number two, if number one ain't around, the number two is operating like he number one. You know, wherever he goes, everybody giving out free drinks and giving out foods and giving money. He ain't got to even walk around with no cash or nothing like that. He just walk around and boom, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm hearing the lower self trying to fight with the higher self, and you know, I still got a lot of work on individually, you know, with my own self. So never am I gonna try to make it seem like I'm better than my brother, regardless of whatever. Yeah. However, I request from the powers that be that, you know, let the higher self be mindful of others' lower self and not to be, you know, contaminated. Because at the end of the day, as the topic is, what do you want me to do? To kill you? lower self is asking the higher self that. Higher self look like, what? Yo, you already dead. You still trying to do all of that? Like, I'm trying to not have you exist. I'm trying to show you that, yo, you used to live. You stay trying to do the opposite, you know. So it's one thing for, you know, for we to be mindful of who we are and not and forget that, you know, there's all these different ideologies that come from these different conscious communities, so forth and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, they gotta be mindful that you come out of the certain conscious communities and you talk to them and yeah, I'm such and such, but yeah, I know we more. Okay, yeah, you know what, yeah, I'm such and such, but yeah, we's more. And when you read in history and it says Moors, that's me, but that's their. And then it's another thing for Moors to say, yeah, Islam, I'm more, but we ain't rating more science.
Right.
You know.
Actually, your question is the next question. Dealing with the same thing with the indigenous. Right? You're right. That being who we are and saying who we are is two different things. Our people have gone into the mold of saying who they are means that that's who they are. Right? When being who you are is really what it's about. So like you said, that you can, you know, you're going to tell people, yeah, come down to the temple, and they're going to tell you, well, nah, I don't need to go there to know that we're Moors or know that we're indigenous or whatever. Yeah, that's true. You don't, but I mean, if your name's Frank or whatever, you tell me that you're conscious, who you playing? You might be playing some stupid people out there, but you're not playing no games with Moors. You don't tell me that you're, you know, Tehudi Ma'at, whatever, but you have nothing to show me that you're that. All I have is your word. Moors could at least show a letter they got from some quote-unquote fictional government, whoever, that said, you know, X relation or AKA or whatever, to show that they know that this individual is presenting two different perspectives, right? Opposed to the people who are just saying out their mouth that they are conscious or they're part of whatever nation, but then when Highwayman comes, they're giving them license with European name on it as who they are. Or they go to some institution and they get a card from that institution and it says some fiction name that's not them. But their you know, Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff says, oh yeah, they're whatever. But when you check their credentials, they're not that. They're pretending to be that. And it goes back to that thing again, that if we are really true about honoring our foremothers and forefathers, then we would be them. If we're really serious about our ancestors, then, you know, forget about go march picket. You guys will be cutting off some chicken heads and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You know, putting some nails in some cow tongues and have crystals and, you know what I mean? You'd be going down to the river to give, you know what I mean, baskets of fruit to some ancestral force or something like that to get out of your problems. We'll be marching, picking it up and down the place. If we say that we're our foreparents, if we say that we know ourselves so well, right? And then know thyself means that you better know your history. Can't know thyself and not know thy history. Like we say with our people all the time. You like battling with these NOI people, right? Same thing like you're saying. They know that they're Moors. Okay, what's your nationality? Well, you know, whatever. They're not even going there, right? I understand your point of view, but I am in disagreement that any brother is a sellout on the basis that they call themselves or are people black because black is a noun and a verb and an adjective, depending on the context.
Is that your number?
Right? And then they don't send them unabridged or whatever. They send, you know, their abridged definitions, right? Their abridged definitions. Black, noun, a color or pigment, right? Now they tell you that black's not a color, it's a shade. This dictionary that they're using is saying black's a color, right? 2, a member of a dark-skinned people, especially one of African or Australian Aboriginal ancestry. A coalition of blacks and whites against violence, the example they use. Verb, make black, especially by the application of black polish. Now, with 2, a member of a dark-skinned people, especially one of African or Australian Aboriginal ancestry. If you're Aboriginal ancestry, you're not black. You're Aboriginal. So what do you mean black is a noun?
Aboriginal chose to be black.
Right? And again, this is what we're explaining. That you can't win with Moors using connotative language. You can't want to debate Moors when you're exercising in color. There's nothing to debate. We'll debate just because we know people like verses, so we can use this as a thing to get some information out because people really like the verses. That's the thing right now, right? Yeah, more.
Or another concept could be this is part of the process of dislodging the indoctrination, right? Because they need to hold on to their so-called beliefs,
Right.
right? So for them to I mean, I think we've all had that process happen to us where we have to let go of some stuff, and sometimes there's going to be some anger, sometimes there's going to be some holding on to that stuff.
There's always there.
So the versus part is, in my mind, is part of the process some of the time. It's how that versus process plays out, right?
Right. But the playing out of it is going to be based on the perspective of whose versus.
Right.
Right? But it's not really a versus because majority of the people are colored that are saying they're, like somebody says they're against Taj. More than likely it's somebody colored. Even from a Moorish perspective, because they have to have a colored concept to say that his concept isn't where it's at.
Right. But to me, that's more of the it's more of a description of the actual opponent, not the process.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The process itself is not even the process because the two competitors, it's not really a competition.
No.
It's like what John Henry Clark said, I only debate my equals. If you're not my equal, this is not a debate, even if it says versus there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right? Europeans are not the gods of law. That is where they always go, that when Moors start talking law, that we got this from some European. European taught us the law because it's the European dictionary. The European guy wrote the dictionary or whatever, so this is European, right? Europeans are not the gods of law. We have always used it historically. Those words and concepts in our numerous dialects and languages to describe ourselves, even the word Moor means black or dark people. Moreno is the same in Latin or Spanish. Not my words, facts. Just saying that's not the definition of a sellout. We were here way before the European. So if we were here way before the European, we're not black. We're Aboriginal, we're indigenous. Black shouldn't even come up that that's who we are. Because if you check the denotative, you find out that black's an adjective. And anybody saying black's a noun is an abridged mind individual.
Which makes them a minority.
Which makes them a minority, which makes them colored, which makes them have no standing at law. So don't even talk law. Don't even talk justice or else when you're in a dead status.
I'm still trying to figure out how black can be a verb. 'Cause I know a verb is a word describing something happening or being. So I don't know like how black can be a verb. And this is not to diss. I don't know this guy. I laughed out. You know, he came on out, but that's off.
Yeah. Why is it off? Because once our people have no status, like Brother Omar said, they're a minority. If you're a minority, that means you have the mind of a child. Why would adults take anything these people say serious? And again, when they bring up things like more means black or dark people, that's the Greeks. That's a Greek mentality. More doesn't mean black. If you talk to a dark-skinned individual, that's a more.
You know. I remember. I remember reasoning with somebody. He was a Moor, but he was saying, you know, when he came to Canada, and they started using the word black, he was like looking around, because he remembers when he was in the regions of, you know, quote unquote Jamaica, they didn't really use this term black man, and they don't use that term, you know. So he comes over here and in here that term, it's like. It's strange to him, you know, because it scrambles his brain when he hears those terms. And even me, you know, always growing up, you hear people trying to say, "Oh, yeah, that black guy." It's like, you gotta say it like that before I even do you nothing wrong. You know?
Yeah, but that's the energy behind the word. Right? But they look at it like they're saying it like that because they're trying to offend. No, that's the energy behind the word. You're supposed to say black like that. Yeah. And especially if somebody's gonna take it on as identity.
Yeah, you're supposed to be black and proud, I guess, right?
and if you are, then hey, you know what I mean? Like the way you complaining.
I always tell people that name me one word that has a positive energy or positive anything that has black in it. And up to now, I still haven't heard one thing.
Black,
I always ask them that. Like, I could tell you a ton of negative notations, but I can't think of not even one.
Blackamore.
One.
And that's the closest you're gonna get.
The only one I can think of.
Positive.
And then, you know, why wouldn't that be the only one?
Well, actually, I'll counter. My mother, when I tried to get her in on this knowledge, told me that when she was growing up, that Black Power was one of the movements that was heralded as the, you know, part of this conscious sort of awareness. But, you know, I remember breaking that down to her about how the word black was not who we were, so therefore we were then robbing ourselves of finding our way back, right?
Right. And that has to do with the power, not the people. The power is black. The power that they're seeking is black. But that's not the people.
Still not black. Man.
Still not black.
That darkness is not called that. It's something different.
That's where you
But that darkness that they're calling black is not black. That carbon, hydrogen thing that you're seeing and actualizing it and calling it black, that's not the word to describe it.
Right.
Carbon.
Blackamoor is still not a good word. It means dead more. Does it not? If you're going to deal with the etymology of words, doesn't blackamoor mean dead more or pale more?
Right. Well, I think you touch on it right there with the blackness, right? We have to understand what it harkens back to, right? Which is the bleak.
I keep saying the word soot, but no one really wants to recognize it or use it because that's what it is.
Yeah. Black is soot, is what you...
Yeah, because when something burns, the ash.
It's called soot. It's not called black. That's where they get set from.
But then they would never go there. Right? Like go there like soot power.
That's what it is, though.
Like if they're gonna say the power,
right,
and they're Kemetic and they're with Ma'at and Heru and all the stuff or whatever, then why take black back to ancient times when you could just use the word that they used in ancient times? You know, like if they're Europeans, right? If they're Europeans, why would all their books say Barbary, which is Arabic? Why not just say Moorish? But then if they say that, then they give up too much. If they say soot power, then you realize that, oh, these people have been a fraud all these years pushing black power on people. Right? Especially if the other people don't have their whatever as power. There's no yellow power people. Chinese people not saying yellow power and they want yellow power or whatever. You know? Europeans don't even say white power.
But also, it's a known maxim that knowledge is power. So if you're gonna say black power, what kind of knowledge? Is there black knowledge?
It's what God was in before He created the light. Black. Maybe that's how they're thinking of it.
Yeah, they're just equating with everything that comes with that energy, right?
Which I mean, it's hard to, you know, you're not gonna get the brainwashed people to think logical, right? As I always said, these Moors gonna have to learn at the point of a sword before they say, okay, yeah, Islam, I'm Moorish American, and start doing whatever they're supposed to do. Right? Even though that time passed, because they've been getting warned at the point of a sword. Right? Yeah, I don't even know where that's coming from. So, water pipe. Brother Gamba L. I recently got assaulted in a holding cell by a police guard. I kicked off my shoe when they searched me, and the cop got mad and threw me on the ground. The whole thing is on video, but they won't give me the video. Would you know the law as to why they won't give it to me? I guess for their protection. Exactly. You know, if they give you the video, they're telling on themselves. If they give you the video, they're telling on themselves. Opposed to, like with Brother Lanre's situation, where the video was in a public place, so they didn't have jurisdiction over the video.
Well, you got the
quote-unquote police.
You got the video in the station too, but it didn't show any video, it was just audio.
Yeah.
Right? They blacked out the video.
Which you know is another way of them protecting themselves. They know that there's video there, but they'll only give you audio. And it's not a law. I mean, what they're looking at is stare decisis. Them being protected because of the position that they have, but they really don't have that type of protection. Because we always remember that these people have nothing to do with government or law or anything like that. It's private, foreign organizations, corporations or whatever that are masquerading as legitimate, and they're also making deals with quote-unquote cities or whatever like that to get jobs or to get positions of assumed authority that they get from the city to do whatever it is that they're doing. So we go back again to this idea of if you're claiming that you're a Moor, know that certain activity you're gonna go through the fire. right? This is not, you know what I mean? Like, you're just gonna say you're a Moor and they're just gonna stop doing whatever it is they're doing to you. Especially if it's something that's you know, dealing with them having to lose finance or them having to lose properties or lose authority over you as their personal, you know, security or whatever, right? They're going to make sure they stand up on their corruption. They're going to defend their corruption to the teeth. They're going to do everything they can to make sure that the corruption continues to go on. You got some more?
Just to say also, in the point of standing up for yourself within those dynamics when you run into some of their enforcers, I think we always make it a point to not encourage that physicality behind it within those dynamics when you're in their hands, because you're never going to get a good response.
Right.
So that as part of just maybe advice would be to try and get out of those positions with as little trouble as possible, and then hopefully leave it to the other times, right?
Yeah. Like we said, you know, for us, especially like with Moors exercising certain things that, you know, if you have to pick your battles, you have to exercise based on what it is you know, not what you heard, not what somebody said, this didn't sound good or whatever like that. You're exercising because you know, period. If you don't know, don't exercise. That simple, right?
Well, exercise if you're willing to take the...
Or willing to get whatever is going to come with the exercise.
So you could gain the experience to know.
Right.
Which is fair enough, but I guess where I would make an amendment to that would be when you are being, let's say, confined or being incarcerated, that those situations tend to lead to physical ramifications, and that fighting on certain things like you're not going to search me.
Right, yeah, once you're already there, yeah. Once they got you, like, save yourself the headache.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or any of those other things that they're trying to force you to do when they've got their hands on you. It would be best to try and comply, unless you do want to maybe scrap it out with them to see how that ends.
Yeah, yeah.
But more than likely, if you're trapped within their confines, it's probably not going to end up well, right?
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was just, you know, I was hearing I think some more that was saying he got beat up by the police when he was there, right? For the fact that you're just saying that he kicked off his shoe, I'm hearing it, I'm like, if you kicked off your shoe, that means whatever is in front of you, you're aiming, that's how I'm looking at it, you know, but it's just like, those kind of things, you gotta be mindful, like you gotta know what kind of beast you're facing against. You can't expect, oh, because you studied snake or because you, whatever the case may be, that you're coming against a snake and whatever, you know. You have to just know, like, you gotta know your opponent. You know. But still, condolences to the, you know, condolences to that individual. Hope he gets his, you know, his will right and enforce that will. If it is right.
And again, too, like, you know, there's also Moors who, the idea of be what you know in order to exercise, or exercising what you know. Like, there's not a template of what the response is gonna be. You know what I mean? Like, people have this idea that the response is a premeditated response. You know, they're going on spur of the moment who they're dealing with. How are they dealing with the individual? Who is the individual? What do they know? What level of? And again, if you're taking this position that you know and you don't know, they're gonna take advantage of that. Right? They're gonna take the position of prove to you that you're wrong. Prove to you that, you know what I mean, you don't know what you're talking about. Right? And then Moors also being on the mindset that your mindset is really what's going to protect you in majority of these situations. You know, like there's you know, brother Yasun, brother Lanre, certain Moors included, that when it comes to highwayman, police, whatever like that, there's not a fear factor. Right? Fear factor is not, the interaction is gonna be, you know, more threatening to the highwayman, because they're dealing with somebody who, it ain't no issue for whatever you guys are trying to, you know, express as authoritative or whatever like that. I'm not buying what you guys are saying. I already know. I already have my experience with them to know what line you could walk, what line you can't walk, whatever like that. And I'm going to call you on your stuff. Right? Again, because of having the knowledge or having experience to know that, you know, certain things they can't do. And as soon as you present those things or exercise those things that you know, then it's going to be a different engagement. Always going to be a different engagement. But it has to be based on you exercising what you know. You cannot exercise what you don't know and think, you know, every time Allah is going to be there to help you. Like, sometimes they're going to abandon you because you're talking crazy. You think you know something? All right, I'm going to test you and see how much you really know. Let's really see how much you know.
Yeah, I just want to add that a lot of the times the highwaymen, I think they're even trained, even if it's by their, you know, by the job or even just their instinct, because they are the troglodyte. You know, they're troglodyte. So basically, they could sense fear. And that's their job. Their job is to sense if you're fear, even if you're acting all wild and acting all crazy, and you know what I mean? They could sense that you're really scared and that they're gonna act on that.
You really act on it.
Right? You could be calm and cool and they fear you because they know that you know what's up. Right? So like the Prophet says, you know, deal with them with an intelligent tone. And I mean, for me, when I was in the traffic on Kangaroo Court and stand on my square and they jumped me from behind and they dragged me out of court, but at the end of the day, I mean, they let me out on a warrant when I'm in a holding cell, in the court cell, and they let me out. They, you know, turn myself in, like, you know what I mean? Just to show that you don't have to really. The fight is not physical; it's with the mind and the pen.
Well, when they grabbed you and they put you in holding cell, did you like really try to resist or put up a big type of fight?
I didn't resist or nothing.
Oh yeah, that was part of the knowing to say, you know what, let me just ease off bringing my aggression right now, because I'm not in the right setting or whatnot, and then you still end up winning the battle because they didn't keep you, right? They let you go.
Right.
So that's the outcome or the objective.
Yeah, but if I was acting up and then next thing you know, they're gonna say, well, you know what I mean, I assaulted them,
Obstruction, assault,
them,
and all that, on top of all the other stuff that they're gonna try to put on.
Exactly. Like last February, I get a stop on Valentine's Day on February 14th, and they pulled me out the conveyance, found marijuana, a bunch of stuff, got kidnapped for the night. Morning after, got bail using one of their lawyers. Could have still maintained my position, but they arrested the straw. They were running with the straw throughout the station. I gave them my appellation and I stood firm on my nationality. Me going up in front of the magistrate in the morning to get released, they're calling the name they got charged, threat, duress, and coercion. I assumed the position, got my bail. Any other time now that I went back to court to deal with that matter, now I was able to gear myself with the ammunition that I needed, that I could present myself you know, property, right? So, any other case, I was the national, like I always was, but on the threat, duress, and coercion, I had to assume a different identity. And now the traffic case, the criminal case, both of them are, I don't know what's going on with them. Well, the criminal was done, the traffic I don't even go and deal with, so at the end of the day, it's just like Omar was saying, like you're saying, you gotta pick your battles to win the war, alright? And know which battles you gotta fight to get the outcome you need. We're under occupation still, so you could resist and fight as much as you want. And depending on the day, depending on who you deal with, depending on the energy you're working with that day, anything's possible, right? But you have to know how to navigate for yourself. Not that hard, and like Grand Sheik was saying, when you're sure of what you know, like I had an encounter the other day with some of them. Again, they issued their suits, had me there for an hour. Eventually, I pretty much told them, well, it was a Sunday too. I said I have a ball game to go to. You guys are holding me up, so can I leave? You know, you guys go that way, I'll just go the other way. They're like, no, you can't drive. You can't drive corporate name. I go, that's not who I am. Oh, you can't drive, Yasun. I'm not driving. Oh, you can't travel, Yasun. You can't travel then. I'm not a driver, so you have no jurisdiction over me traveling. Da, da, da. No, but you can't. Under the Highway Traffic Act, you can't do this and da 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 da. Well, all right, but when you guys leave, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm going to be doing what I do. They left. We waited a few minutes. I went the other way, and then I went to my destination. Right? There was no tags, no insurance, no license. Right? They could have probably pulled me over again, but that's a risk I'm willing to take, because the more I engage and the more they get engaged, they start recognizing.
Yep.
Right? So that same, I went to the center 2 days ago to deal with the permits for the for those days, and he, you know, same officers in there, and he got more too, right? And then the other one who pulled me up was a Moro, right? He's Filipino. So both of them, and at first when they pulled me over, they were going on hostile and they were getting aggressive, and then their supervisor came in and their story changed. The reason why I wanted to mention, I forgot, but the reason why I actually brought up the story is because after he toned down a bit and it became more civil, he brought the suits, and then his approach was, we realize that there's things that you, quote unquote, believe that we don't agree with, and vice versa. But we have to, you know, and he said, we're just law, we just execute the law. We're not lawmakers. And I go, I'm well aware of that. And you guys are held liable for a lot of things you don't know or not aware of. And he's like, yeah, true. So we have to find a common ground where, you know, we respect your position and you respect ours. And I go, that's fine. Because you're going to do what you're going to do at the end of the day. And I'm not faltering what I know, because this is what I'm going to stand on. So we'll all expect to see you guys again. I will have this encounter again, but know that this is where I'm going to be. And I know, and he's like, yeah, well, you feel you're not doing anything wrong. I go, I know, exactly. And you guys are doing what you're doing, and this is what has to be. Right? So I seen him a couple of days ago again, one of them. And I was playing my music, so I couldn't really hear him. So I thought he addressed me by the corporate name, the Straw. So I turned on, I'm like, pardon me? I go, what'd you say? And he's like, I said, good evening, sir. I go, oh, okay, I have to make sure you're addressing me correctly. He goes, I always address you correctly. And da-da-da-da-da, right? So the more we engage with them and the more they kind of get familiar with stuff, because they're doing their research too, right?
They know.
Because I've been doing this on a level with them for like almost 10 years. Where at first when they would even I'd have encounters with them, I wouldn't even give them my name. So I'm not obligated to give you anything, because at the time I didn't even have a free national name yet. I was just moving as a Moor. I didn't have a fez yet. I didn't have any nationality card. Still had the corporate name, never Never got no name, an appellation from the ancestors, and I wouldn't even give them a name, just based on certain common law principles, common law concepts, right? But as time goes by, different jurisdictions, whether we're here in Toronto, Mississauga, Brampton, you know, whether it's whatever, Peel, Durham, they're starting to know, and they know that, especially when you're sure and you don't doubt yourself, they're intimidated. Because they don't even know if what they're doing is right.
Yes, they're questioning themselves.
They're questioning themselves now.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you're so sure, like, what the hell, and this is new, so then something must be right. Then they go research, and to a certain extent, and they see certain things. Probably a whole bunch of misconstrued information that they're getting all scrambled. But still they have a somewhat of a basis.
And this is where, you know, it's leading to the part where, you know, their engagement with us is going to be between what we agree on as far as our engagement. Because they're going to come to the realization that, okay, well, everybody who we stops that has feathers, turbans, or whatever like that, you know, they know a certain degree of, you know, quote-unquote law. And we can't deal with them how we deal with everybody else. So, like one of the Moors got pulled over the other day, right, while I was on the phone. And they're just straight telling the highwayman, well, yo, you know, I don't adhere to you guys, whatever. I'm not part of your jurisdiction. No, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta have that. You're behind the wheel, so you're a driver, blah, blah, whatever. No, sorry, get your supervisor, because obviously I can't talk to you because you're... No, we don't have to call the supervisor and all this stuff. Get the supervisor, because you're violating my rights or whatever. Supervisor comes. You can call the supervisor, what's going on? Well, yeah, they've been violating you. Violating you? What do you mean they're violating you? Like, what do you mean by violate? Well, you know, I'm indigenous. I have rights, whatever. Right? They had, you know, no insurance, tags on the car that's not even for that car, no ownership, whatever, nothing. Right? Well, we're gonna have to give you these tickets for, you know, not having the. Okay. Sorry for him violating you and all that stuff. Didn't mean to, whatever. You know, be careful, whatever, and then they go about their business. Now, regular situation, they're taking the car because the plates don't match. The plates don't match the car.
I told that sister honors
right?
to her, and we have to give her honors because I've never even had a situation that sweet.
Crazy.
I get the conveyance towed and I have to tell the tow, you know what, it's time to take this down, I'll be going now. She takes it off the tow around the corner from where the incident happened. I get back in my conveyance and I'm out. She didn't even have to do that. She went off in her conveyance. I've had that happen to me twice.
Left with the conveyance. Yeah.
Honest to her because not for them, but honest to her, not in the strength that she got it done. It's just she had the courage to even do that.
True.
Yeah. I noticed that.
Yeah,
especially when it's very, very calm, it's like it's confused.
Yeah. Something happened.
How is it something happened? Yeah. This person I called to this
It's mother controls the situation if she knows she's mother all the time.
Right. You know? Right? And again too, it's a thing of, you know, like, you know, the conviction is that, you know, she's not straw. We're not gonna make her straw. We're not gonna coerce to be straw. Nothing like that. You got tunnel vision that I'm not the straw. So anything that approaches, that's what they're gonna have to deal with. You know what I mean? Aboriginal, indigenous, that's it. Nothing else. You're not even having any conversation about anything else. That's it. If you say that you have some authority, show me something to prove that you have authority over indigenous people, and I'll do whatever you want. Right? You know? Because it's you know, and again, we're saying that to say that, you know, how that got dealt with is because of the activity that Moors have been doing over the years, engaging these people, Moors who choose to exercise on the strength of they know what they know. And I'm not backing down when you present your whatever you're presenting, right? They know. Just give the tickets, go, and let's just get the hell out of here. Because it doesn't even make sense doing what it is that we would normally do. It doesn't equate to anything. Because we're going to be the ones looking like we did something. Because these people are saying they're indigenous, right? Supervisor had to come and back down the other highway, man. Like, just give her the tickets so we could go. Like, what do you mean? She's been here for half hour talking, and you're trying to debate about, you know what I mean? She should have this or that or whatever. And then on top of that too, with not giving license or whatever, of course they did the tickets in the straw, right? Which again lets you know, right? If I'm telling you my identity is whatever, and you're gonna, well, I'm not gonna use that name that you gave me. I'm gonna use this other name over here that we have jurisdiction over.
The one that is familiar.
Then they're trying to create joinder. They're trying to make you be tied to the situation so that they can have a situation on whatever date that you're gonna go there and whatever, do the court, whatever.
A couple months before I got pulled out and they broke the window and yanked me out the whip, I had suits from other posse enforcer who gave suits to my free national name because I gave my right to travel card, and gave the suits and then said travel safe to me, and then I whipped off and then he whipped off right behind me. So like that's just one time. Every other time either you want to tow the conveyance or whatnot. So that one time alone like supersedes everything else. It doesn't matter. Yep. I know. Because, and then I use that, and then the ones who pulled me out of the whip, I'm on the ground, and they're pissed. Like, the one whoever gave him this ticket is an idiot. Because I had it. And I go, what are you guys talking about? Well, you're arrested for what? Look, one of your own colleagues did this. Gave tickets and I was on my way. And in my free match. So, like, they were dumbfounded. That's why, yeah, let your writs precede you, and send them in, and then if you have to go, you go in. But I used to do that, but I don't even go. There's nothing because they have no jurisdiction over the free national, and that's who I claim to be the whole time. So who are you coming for? You didn't charge the free national. I didn't accept to be the straw. Right? I didn't assume that position. And in their venues, they don't, it's their venue. It's not our courthouse. We're not going to get any ruling that sides with us, unless they give you some type of leeway out where it still looks, it's in a corporate manner.
But in fact, most of the time what they do is they just, they just throw them out. That way they're not leaving that paper there, right?
Yeah, but it's still in a corporate manner. They're not saying that, okay, you're a Moor, so we're throwing this charge out, or you shouldn't even be charged in the first place.
Just throw it out and they don't give
They're dealing with it in a corporate manner. Like, they'll try to find a little leeway. Okay, well, do a little community service here, or I don't even know what it does. It just goes into their cloud. Because...
Or a lot of times maybe what they do is they might assign the straw some monetary amount. Let's say the ticket should have been $500. They may say, okay, we're going to charge you $25 for a ticket that should be $500, and they sort of walk on that while still keeping the facade that somehow the straw was still held accountable.
Yeah, right? And if you assume the position and go and give them any of your energies, then they're going to accept it.
True.
But if you don't, nothing happens.
Right. Well,
and especially if you're not giving any power to it. You like, trust me, the mind over matter thing is so key.
But ultimately, you know this too, though, right? And we always say this too. The straw was there, and we have there is payment that we're due to that name as well. So we also have to understand, like you said, that we're under occupation. So ultimately, that straw sometimes because of the way that the whole corporate thing has been set up, that straw still is yours to use to your benefit.
Well, they know that, so like I don't even have to do nothing with it. Like you guys do what's necessary because you guys know that that's there, and you guys, I'm entitled to something, or that straw's entitled to something under that name. So you guys deal with that issue. I don't even give power to it to say, yo, these people are saying I owe them this, or that I owe them that, or I owe them what? Oh, what? Is there any even money? And there's no money. So what do I owe you? What are you coming to take from me? Right? So I don't give no power to it. I don't invoke anything about it. So that way it's not real. It might be real for them, but on my side it's not real. So there's a blockage. It can't even penetrate my zone.
You got some more, Mark?
Yeah, I'm stepping out here, but more as I'm letting everyone know that we're planning to go to Ottawa for our annual Counter Black History Month lecture that we have there. So any Moors who are interested in going, I think it's on the 24th, which is a Saturday. You more than likely head down on the Friday night, and then have our lecture sometime during Saturday, or we may do Saturday morning, and then stay over one of the nights. That can be decided. But any Moors that are interested in attending, maybe we could communicate over the next week to 2 weeks to start making some plans in terms of possibly housing and those kind, or domicile, like renting domiciles and stuff. All right.
So I also wanted to add to what brother was saying about not even going to their venue. With my case, when I filed a default against them, and so on the record, I dismissed their so-called claims, and so the next court date, I didn't go because what am I going for? I'm standing on my square, saying that it's dismissed. So me going back is just going to say that I'm contradicting myself. So, I mean, there's a warrant out, but I mean, I make sure I took all my straw out of my wallet. It's only national stuff in there. So, right, the tags are not in my straw. So, the only way that they're going to have to get the straw is they have to admit to the fraud. So,
and trust me, they know where your straw is. Like if they're assuming it to be a physical person, they know where they could go for their straw. I've been in that position many times, bro. Like warrants, they're going for you, and they're coming to get you where they know you are, and you're getting taken. So
that's the other part that he talks about with all that stuff, fighting all of that stuff too within warrants and those kinds of things.
It's imaginary, especially when they're dealing with a straw and you know who you are. Then it becomes imaginary. It's not real.
But ultimately understand too that sometimes when they are putting those warrants out, you always need to be following, like Cujo was saying, following by knowing what you know, and sometimes not answering a warrant like that, like he's saying, will end up with these people at your door. Right? So that if you want to be able to live on your terms, not under occupation, then you may go down there and deal with that on your terms, not on the terms that they might want to come to your door at 3 in the morning.
well, what I've done is I sent out the default to all the chief of police, all the regions, all 5 regions, and I'm going to send to all the police stations as well. Just send them the information along with my proclamation, right? The default of the file, and leave it at that. So, I mean, they know that I ain't hiding, but I'm staying in my jurisdiction.
Right.
Which is where it needs to be anyways, because it's all an illusion and a fraud and all that stuff.
Right, which is why we put up the sorcery. All the warrants, all the things, just like Brother Yasun saying, they say, oh, you owe something, and then you start, oh, yes, I can't believe that I owe them, I'm more, I'm not supposed to owe them nothing. You start going there in your mind, then you're putting the power on them. You're personally giving it. Opposed to, just like what he's saying, fine, what do you mean? There's not even money. I'm in Morocco, what do you mean court of Ontario or whatever? Right? Once the mindset changes, the conditions change. But the mindset has to change first. If the mindset doesn't change, then the conditions remain the same. Right? More asks about
So Islam Wars, remember, getting under Cujo and I in terms of on the 24th of Feb? February? It's a good time.
Islam Wars.
And then also too, to add on to that too, we're going to be doing we have our Moorish History Month lectures coming up. The 10th and the 17th, same place where we had Noble Drew Ali Day, 12:30 to 3:30. And what we're calling it is, we're calling it Question the Moorish Challenge.
Say that
this year.
Say that. What's the title?
Question the Moors Challenge.
Okay.
For all the doubters or whatever, all the black history people, whoever else that has whatever issues they got with Moors. We're working on having some Skypes as well. So these people have some credible people to question. Right? We're still working on some people who we're gonna have as the sit-ins. And of course it's open for Moors too, you know, to present whatever questions they got. Right? It's going to be a free session. Of course, we're going to have our catering by 5 principals. Didn't figure out if we're going to do vendors or whatever yet, but it's going to be free, so we're going to get the flyer out in the email so people could forward it to whoever, so they know they got 2 days in February to come and address whatever they got to address with the Moors.
A lot of Moors are saying Moors had Moors in slavery and as slaves and all kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and even when we look at that level, yeah, Moors enslaving Moors now, saying that they're citizens of U.S.A. or whatever. That's slavery. Moors saying that, you know, they're reincarnated prophets and all that stuff. That's slavery. Moors saying that they're black people and whatever, and calling people black, that's slavery. You know, that's just what it is. That's just what it is.
I had to break something down for one guy.
Yeah.
And it was Friday. He goes to university or high school, whatever. He got his thing going. In Jamaica, where the Maroons are. Because I'm saying, look now. Because he's saying the European bring us from Africa over here as slaves. And he was the name, whatever. He's agreeing to that.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him, but look, if did they bring us on the first trip or they came back for us after they come here? Remember they come here first.
Right. Yeah.
So what time did they bring us?
When did they bring us? Yeah.
The first trip they came or after they come back for us?
Yeah.
You can't determine that. But then now he's saying, the Arawak Indians were there, or whatever native were in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, that's fine. So they bring us then as African, from Africa there. If you can get up with the time, if it was the first trip, second trip, that beside it. But now, you have a set of people on here, they call themselves Maroon.
Right.
What are those people? Those are the only people that's there now that say that's their land and you come see me here. You don't have a set where they call Arawak over there.
Yeah, right.
This is
the
I was
only
here
ones
too.
are the, yeah.
Because he's trying to break it down like it was different tribes they bring and whatever. So I'm saying, but again, remember you have one down there right till this day.
There already.
Until this day is the only one that said, I am Maroon. So I goes, if you think they bring you there, well, my thing is that they look like me, so I'm not sure if I wasn't there before or they bring me here.
Yeah.
I'm more sure I'm here like this one. So in other words, you are Maroon too.
Right. Right.
Because he wasn't looking at like that. He keep thinking they bring, but I said there is one set they look like us that say they didn't bring us here.
Right. Yeah. And if they're there saying they didn't bring us here,
then and they look like me.
How you listening to people who say they've got brought here?
Good. You know.
Yeah. You had something, bro?
Yeah, just a question. So those Buffalo soldiers were Moors that were here?
We can say probably a mix. Because remember, the whole thing was get the natives and the blacks to do this, and then just call everybody black.
That sound causes so much confusion. I think
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, because this is not their own land, right? They're going to have some people from our side that are going to work with them. That's just, this is not their land. You know what I mean? If they're coming here and they're the minority, their army is going to come from the people who are here. It's not going to bring some people from all the way over Africa or whatever over here to be in the army over here for them. They're going to use what's here already. You know, which goes back to the same thing, that there's enough people who were over here that knew they didn't come from anywhere. Europeans came here, saw us here. Do you think that was 5 people that they saw here or something like that? Like, you know what I mean? You know, everybody else came over here on a ship, but except these 5 guys that the Europeans met here.
That's what I tried to tell them in Jamaica. Those maroon, what you said, they didn't bring those maroon, but no.
Yeah.
I look like them.
And again, and the thing with the indigenous is that, you know, they would know their ancestors are from other places. You know, their ancestors come from other places, sure. But us, we've been over here on this side. You know what I mean? We've been here. Right?
But even if, this is my question, if the Maroons on that land, all the Maroons say, you know what, I'm Jamaican. The laws of the Maroons, is it of no effect no more?
Yeah, it's just like, it's like the thing with, if, does the tree make a sound if nobody's there to hear it fall?
But the tree's still there though.
Right?
Okay. True.
It still fell.
True.
You know what I mean? I doubt it didn't make any sound, even though I'm not there to hear it. You know? I doubt that the maroon laws apply because there's nobody saying maroon, that they're maroon. All of them are saying they're Jamaican. But if one maroon says I'm a maroon, now the law's there.
I was reasoning with my mother-in-law, and I found out she maroon. And she then said, yeah, but the Maroons, they mixing with Jamaicans now, and you know, I'm like, okay. So the question just came to, like, that realization just came to me now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so Maroons mixed in with everybody.
Yeah.
But the Maroons' principles is of no value still?
Right, exactly. It's still there. It's just, it's not being exercised. You know, it's like the same thing with all the indigenous people became black people. Came over here on slave ships and all that stuff. Does that mean that the indigenous idea is lost? No, all it takes is somebody to come and resurrect that again.
Like that match.
You know what I mean? Like that match. And it's going to be going again. You know? Brother Talib El Bey, I need insight on obtaining a passport. I don't have a social security number and I stopped using straw name a couple of years ago. Also, are there any testimonials you received regarding people going overseas without one? I appreciate your time. Now, because of having the right to contract in your land, being under occupation, everything under threat, duress, and coercion, if you can go get these documents, it's about reserve your rights to get the documents. It ain't that serious. The issue is people who don't have the ability to get the documents because of whatever they're gonna pull, or you're not a citizen, or you got felony, or you got whatever, you can't apply for certain things. This is where the thing with the activity comes in, that the Moors as a body should be dealing with certain things. It shouldn't be individuals dealing with things. It should be a collective effort when dealing with certain things. So there are, as far as across the Atlantic, I think there's like 2 Moors that were able to use, other than passport, Moorish ID and go on a plane somewhere else. Is it based on them doing something special or whatever? No, it's just them standing on their square, and it worked out. Whoever they dealt with recognized the concept. They had the ticket and the name. They had mail from quote-unquote governmental whatever with the same address as their card and their whatever, and they accepted it as ID. Because really that's all it comes down to. Are they going to accept it as ID? If they accept it as ID, then you should be able to go anywhere with it. The supporting documents are mail that matches that, and 2 pieces that match the mail. That's what the ID protocol is, right? Now we know that they're gonna fight it, because if one gets through, then the other's gonna try to get through, right? Just like everything else. If one says I don't have a license, and then 2 say I don't have a license, and then they keep stopping people who say they don't have a license, then eventually they're gonna have to get rid of the no license ticket, because nobody's gonna pay it anyways if they get the ticket. Because they're going to keep giving out these tickets that aren't getting paid, which is costing them something. So they'll just eliminate it so it doesn't have any effect on them. So with you know, this thing of going places and going on planes and exercising your rights and all that stuff, those are things that we should have been doing already. It's not supposed to be things that now we have the idea that we want to do this. Which again it always goes back to the idea of this sellout. And the fact that the disservice that was done to the Moorish movement was that it stopped being active. It became passive. So now if you try to be active, you're seen as a renegade, or you're seen as somebody who's going against the government or whatever like that, when you have that right to do that. You have that right to self-identify. And again, it's going to take individuals who are willing to put the neck on the line to try stuff, see if it works. But they better be doing it because they know, not because they're trying to see if it works, and then if it doesn't work, now they're complaining that they got kidnapped and this happened, that happened, how come that happened or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. You're exercising because you know. You're showing nationality card because you know what nationality card is, and you're exercising based on what you know that it is. Right? So, like we tell people, the body politic of Moors could get things done in a unit, but everybody has to be on the same mindset if we're going to exercise as a unit. Which is why I tell people study, give them right reference points, give them specific reference points, so everybody can be on the same page. Once everybody's on different stuff, you're saying you're going to this website, you're saying you're going to this website, but then we're saying we're together, the activity is not going to have the power. It's no different than when, with Brother Lonray's situation, and Moor called, and all the Moors on the one mindset said, okay, let's just go to where they're kidnapping him or whatever. And at the so-called court thing, they were saying, they were using that, oh, we were aggressive or whatever like that, you know, but it was only because they never had 10 Moors just show up, just like this.
But then now they got called on it because there was video.
Right. And
the video was presented, and then when the magistrate seen the video, it's like, okay, where's the aggression you guys are talking about? So like that's all I mentioned too, like we have a kind of backwards concept of how we're going to go about it. Like that Moor wants to know how to travel internationally without using their documents. And if he finds his way now, all of the rest of the Moors are going to try to jump on it to see if it's foolproof, or whoever. You don't even have to be Moor. We're going to jump on it to see if it's foolproof, when collectively we should be doing that to try to, or to gain that access first. After it happens, that's when we want to say, okay, let's band together now to see if all of us could get the perks.
Yeah, yeah. And then on top of that too, is like what Grand Chief Nature says, forget international if you haven't done domestic yet. Right? Don't tell me about go on a plane with nationality card if you can't even get shoppers to take taxes off with your nationality card. Walmart's giving you hassles, but you're talking about going on a plane. You know what I mean? The domestic has to be dealt with. The domestic has to be experienced and tried, and there has to be a paper trail that, okay, you've been exercising domestically, right? No different than, you know, somebody gets violated by a highwayman, and then, well, yeah, well, I want to go take them to court and sue them. Well, has there been a local whatever? Before you go to the level of take them to the Supreme Court, how many courts have you taken these people to? Have you taken them to small claims court yet? Have you taken them to, have you filed something civilly in the federal court? Have you done anything relative to proving that we've gone through all these stages in these lower venues, which is why we're going to the Supreme venue now. You're not going to the Supreme venue just because that's where you go to sue people. Right? You're going there because all your other remedies have been exhausted. You did everything you can in the lower ones and they're not hearing it. No different than when you're dealing with, you know, argue with the clerk. Then eventually you're going to say, forget the clerk, where's the supervisor? It's not going where it's going. But you have to engage at least on some level to see if there's need for take it to the next level. You know. And again, you know, the thing of you know, obtaining a passport. Well, Moors gave Europeans passports. So again, like with Brother Yasun saying, with the sorcery, if the concept is wrong, stuff's not going to work. If the concept is, we need Moorish passports, you're already doing off into some nothingness. Because nationality card is supposed to be all of that. Because all they really want to know is who you are. Who are you? Are you a criminal? Are you whatever like that? You know, before we let you in the country. Who are you? Oh, well, your thing had, oh, well, we go through your passport. It says that you went here, you went there, you went there, you went there. Okay, cool. The people, obviously other people let you in, so we can let you in. It's not really about the passport. And then keep in mind that when we did the class in the week, that the port is the border. So if they're saying passport, but you're not passing any ports, then somebody's playing around. If the border is the port and you have a passport, but then you're not passing a port, you're just on the mainland, no water anywhere, then people are playing. And again, because of Moors' inactivity is why these people are playing. Because of everybody thinking, Moor Science Temple, oh, that's something religious or whatever. I don't want nothing to do with that. Is why people are playing. You know. So there's no real template of that. You know what I mean? It's just like what Brother Yasun saying. Him getting stopped by them, getting stopped by them, getting stopped by them, has them saying, okay, well, oh, how you doing, Yasun, and all that stuff. Don't call him the straw name. Right? Because of his activity, engaging them on multiple occasions, risking whatever, is why they said, okay, we'll call you Yasun instead of whatever. We're still going to give you these tickets. But, you you know, we don't want to deal with Yasu. Right? So it's the individual having to put their own little, you know, it's like we say with the occult and spells. If somebody's gonna go get a spell, download it offline or whatever, and then they, oh yeah, but it said green candle and cloves and no, okay, and then they just do that. But you're supposed to sprinkle your own stuff on there. You're not supposed to just take that only. No different than recipe. You take recipe only. This tastes like crap. What is this? Why does it taste like crap? Why are they on the video like, oh, this is beautiful and all that stuff? You try that, it tastes like crap every time. Why? Because that's their spell. You have to put your own spell on it. And then once you put your own spell on it, you realize, okay, but then, you know, don't get caught up and then try to put it out there. Because then people are going to, it's going to be the same thing that's going on. Oh yeah, let me try it. No, this tastes like crap. What is this? You guys can't cook and all that stuff. Right? There's a couple other questions here. Moors looking for Florida Moors. Moors looking for witnesses near Florida. If any Moors located near or around the Florida area, you could contact Brother Solomon Ab Bir Albe. Solomon ABB EER lb@gmail.com. Brother Solomon's looking for witnesses for his proclamation papers, etc. Brother Rennie Bay, could you touch on the FBI investigation of the Moorish Science Temple? It's clear after reading that those who stuck by the Prophet and his teachings got a favorable reply. It touches on mostly those that were signed up to go to war in the 1950s and how they found out about the Moorish Science Temple and the Circle 7 teaching unity of Allah and man. They didn't object to going to war. They just used the religion to show that they can't kill any living thing. Peace and love, a lot of unconscious Moors are discouraged because of that. And again, it's going back to the thing of, if you're talking about 1950s, Moorish Science Temple of America, all you're dealing with is the traders at that point. All you're dealing with it at that point are the people who undermine this, which is why they're gonna, you know, use the religion or not kill any living thing and all that type of stuff. But what did Muhammad Ali claim? That those were his brothers over there. Those people over there didn't strip me of my nationality. Why am I going to fight them? That's what Muhammad Ali said. But the Moorish Science Temple, who they're supposed to be the ones talking like that because they have the nationality, they're talking about, oh no, where's our religious right? We have a religious right not to kill living things, that's why we don't want to go to war. If that's not passive Moors, then you know why we're where we are. But again, Muhammad Ali told them, because they didn't strip me of my nationality. If he's NOI, and he knows about nationality, and that in order for, well, because he didn't get stripped of his nationality by those people, he's not going to war, then he knows what nationality is. Okay, well, he was taught by Elijah Muhammad. So wouldn't that mean Elijah Muhammad knows about nationality? If he's going to say that, and again, when you go watch that interview or whatever, you know that that was one of those ones where, you know, you get told something, and, because he never said it again after that. He never mentioned nationality after that interview. Right? That was either a throw out for the people, or that was a slip. Right? And
During
again,
his funeral, they flew the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
His funeral, they flew the flag.
Oh, really?
It was on one of the...
Yeah, on the hearse.
Okay.
That was in, where you see that on like?
You can look it up.
YouTube?
They must tell you.
When they broadcasted, it was there on the hearse.
Oh,
Right? I think it was on the, left front. You know, when they put the flags?
Wow.
Right at the front.
Yes, sir.
I was watching this movie called Zorro.
Called what?
Zorro.
Yeah.
And it was like...
Zorro, like the sword guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like back in the day in America. It was like the border between America and Mexico. And then in the middle of the movie, I saw like Caucasian kids lining up. And this guy, he had a ring. And then one by one they kissed.
They kissed it?
Yeah.
How did the guy with the ring look? Was he European or he was a...
European.
He was European? So yeah, he was probably some type of religious somebody. He was maybe their preacher or something like that. Why they would do that? Because that's how they would show respect to whatever. You have to kiss the ring. Anybody got any more questions or comments? And also too, with regard to the with the FBI investigation, remember that when they say Circle 7 and Unity and Allah and all these things, these are all copyrighted stuff. When you hear FBI infiltration of Morris Science Temple, you're talking about after Noble Drew Ali died, when they started causing the confusion. So the idea of the sellout was to cause confusion. The idea of the sellout was to have people think that this is about being passive when it's really about being active. Have them think that this is about, you know, some U.S. president when Noble Drew Ali is a president. Thinking that U.S. or whatever, some jurisdiction when this is really Morocco and they should be exercising like their Moorish states in America, not some organization. You know, again, the thing with the Noble Drew Ali reincarnated and, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all these reincarnated Noble Drew Alis. And when you check, you know, their track record, you see that, you know, they were down with the Prophet at one time. They were next to him. They were shoulder to shoulder with him, right? Brother Sheldon was bringing up the point of, you know, if these people are so reincarnated, how come Noble Drew Ali didn't tell Neely Hill that he was going to come again in another dude?
True.
Right? Because if he's going to be, if Noble Drew Ali is reincarnating in somebody, then the individual, before they reincarnate, it would probably be wise to let people know, I'm going to be reincarnating, so you don't get caught chasing somebody who isn't me. You know, but they didn't think that far ahead. They thought everybody's stupid or whatever, that they can get away with their little BS that they pull.
And also, shouldn't it be upon the people to make mention this is the reincarnation, not the actual individual?
Well, that's the thing with what Brother Sheldon asking.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That there should have been an announcement that he's going to reincarnate.
True.
So everybody knows to expect the guy, opposed to the guy reincarnating and tell everybody,
Ta-da.
the balloons coming down, you know what I mean? Because he's back. The Prophet's back in a different body. You're right. That's not a real.
Even the Buddhists, they do a test for the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 children, and say, which one is it? We don't know yet. And they test the children and see who's who.
Right.
It's just, hey, it's me.
Yeah. I'm the guy.
Go through already.
Right. I currently have a case I'm building up in regard to being held for 120 days in the county prison for an alleged non-arrestable offense. alleged traffic issue that has nothing to do with me at all, no crime, no warrant, etc. I have the bond information of the mayor of the city and the county sheriff. I comprehend this is a constitutional matter. My question is, would it make sense for me to add the bond information to the counterclaim in the district court, or should I just go along with the suit without adding their bond to the files of the records? Well, you wanna, if they're bonded, then that means there's some type of complaint department or whatever. Because if they're bonded, they should be doing things according to how bonded they are. So instead of putting the bond in, file a complaint against the bond and then put the complaint in with the suit. Instead of just put the bond in, because the bond, you know, we already know that those bonds are probably blanket bonds that don't even cover them. Right? And again, if you're talking about the mayor and county sheriff and these people, and if the county sheriff helped violate you, then you know how much corruption is going on. Because the county sheriff's supposed to be on the side of the people, not the side of the corporate jurisdictions. Right? And again, too, with that idea of you know, arrestable offenses and things like that. You know, no offense is that under color. You know, so there has to be joinder. There has to be something there has to be some type of contract that you have out there with that fictitious name on it that they're going to use to hold you to whatever obligation they say that you have with them. Right? They're not doing things because they don't have their ducks in a row. Right? Even though it's color. They're going to make sure that their stuff is tight, even in color. Right? So being de jure, we have to make sure our stuff is extra tight. And a lot of that starts with, you know, our immediate engagement with these people. You know what I mean? Why is it that some Moors have issues and some Moors highwaymen yield all the time, no issues? Has to be because of the energy that these individuals are presenting. As soon as that energy is off, as soon as the energy has fear, as soon as the energy is not, or as soon as the energy is threatening to them, they go into, you know, beast mode. They go into, we are the Inquisition services. And they're going to do their Inquisition policies. And again, then there's Moors who, they don't have any issues with any highwayman, from local to provincial, legislative, sheriff, whatever. Anybody stop them, it's, oh, sorry about that, have a nice day, sorry to bother you, or whatever. Right?
Uncle Jack, the next one.
Yes, sir.
So this commercial, so it was like, it showed lots of clothes, and then this woman, she was trying to say nationality, but instead she said personality.
Instead of nationality, she said personality. Yep. What do you get from that? How come she said nationality? How come she said personality instead of nationality?
I don't know.
Talking about clothes?
No, yeah, they showed a bunch of clothes, and instead of nationality, she said personality.
Right, now, could it mean that the individuals wearing clothes didn't have nationalities? They were only person.
Was there any symbols on the clothes?
It was like, kind of like African things, like all clothes.
Was she in the commercial? Do you remember she was talking about the symbols or expressing upon the principles? I don't know how long the commercial.
But she just kept on saying personality.
Wow. Okay.
Moore sent a picture of the East-West Shrine Game, the all-star game of college football. So they had a picture with all the Shriners lined up, you know, taking the picture or whatever like that. And the Moor was addressing that the only individual without the marked fez was the mascot, which was a bear. They had the bear with the unmarked fez, a brown bear with the unmarked fez, and then all these Europeans there taking a picture with their marked Shriners stuff. So again, going back to the thing like what his brother's saying that, you know, things are out there. They're telling people whatever they can tell them. If there's no more questions, we'll get our close out. Islam to all the Moors. Everybody good? No questions? So, February 10th and 17th, we're going to be doing our Moorish History Month lectures, free lectures to the community for anybody who's, you know, had questions about Moors. This year we're doing the Ask a Moor challenge. Putting it out to everybody. Free, no finance, come out of your pocket, bring your questions. 10th and 17th, 29 St. Denis. And we're going to have one of the days or two of the days we're working on some Skype names, you know, some Skype scholarly names as far as Moors are concerned. So these people don't think that they're just going to be, you know, Moors from Moor Science Temple there to answer their questions. We're going to bring some reputable people to be present so they can have somebody legit to ask their questions, so they can't come back with any BS that, you know, there was some bias or whatever. So we're just waiting on some callbacks from some people, but we'll keep you posted as we find out who we solidify to deal with our question and answer for Moorish History Month this year. And again, don't forget Ottawa, the 24th? Yes. 24th of February, we're going to be doing the Ottawa trip. So we'll just close out Islam Moors and five on the left, two on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through His holy prophet. Lord Juali. Ashe. Islam worldwide.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster.
Black power my ass, y'all just playing the ass, posing, frontin', no bustin', or dirty cock gun button. At least more's right, rich, trying to do something. Pen as my weapon, fezzes up and turbans, no bluffing. Don't get it twisted, sort of more get handcuffing. Judges dismiss cases, prosecutors cussing, telling my guys recuse themselves or get sued. Civil rights leaders got conscious blacks marching on news, stopping traffic of people that didn't kill their sons and daughters. In Canaanland we call y'all bright and out of order. Nationality has me awake like a sleep disorder, while most wear blinders, my peripherals broader. For the record, I'd sweat in nervous court recorders. In Admiralty, maritime shores, Moors walk on water. Engines return with mental cures, no sight blurred, while they stay killing their minds and saying they learn.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a
before they became slaves. Seems like today it's only nicknames and pain. You should be learning so pain could stop from these vermin. German Nazi Inquisition is enslaving with sermons. Declared independence, still giving Moors reverence. Talking treaties with Muslims at Oval Office entrance. To the entrance masses, keep them docile and passive. Killing them, corralling blacks, acting like hostile fascists. Take oaths to break them, unless it's from the Lord. They give profits, we take them and neglect ancestors. Playing Mr. Tuffy, smoking a Dutch from the same master. Bullies stealing your money for lunch. Wanna drink from their bowl cause they spike their punch. With Clorox, I'm not guessing, but I have a hunch. I can say I stand up to mercenary punks, while you Facebook posing with Glocks cocked and shotguns pumped.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you a gangster.
You got guns and use them on targets moving. Try KKK badge carriers in your hood cruising. I'm not promoting violence, it's a point I'm proving. Moore's methods do work, but Coons disapproving. Khalid calling you out, but you're attacking the sheep and wanna show me how good you are with your hands and feet. Never challenge a cop when they arresting your brother, but will wear hoods and hold Skittles one after another. Acting with lethal weapons, you Mel Gibsons and Glovers. Shot in the back, I'm watching you suffer. Black standing on corners in seconds, life smothered. She forgave him for his son's death. Listen to mother, listen to common exercising his five senses. To end racism, stop looking through racial lenses. Look at constitutional, not civil defenses. Stop marching, the only thing that pickets is fences.